Have you ever stopped to wonder why, despite living in the most comfortable, safest, and technologically advanced era in human history, so many of us are utterly miserable? We have infinite entertainment in our pockets, food delivered to our doors in minutes, and climate-controlled homes, yet anxiety and depression are skyrocketing globally. Why? The answer lies not in modern psychology, but in ancient biology. We are walking around in the 21st century, operating on prehistoric software. Our brains were wired for survival in harsh, ancestral environments, not for navigating corporate cubicles, infinite social media doom-scrolling, and blinding artificial light. This profound disconnect between our ancient evolutionary programming and our modern environment is the root cause of our modern despair. We are trying to win a complex game using the wrong rulebook. Modern self-help advice usually fails because it blatantly ignores our biological reality. It tells you that happiness is some mystical choice, a mere state of mind you can manifest just by thinking positive thoughts. But our biology does not care about inspirational quotes. We are biological organisms, driven by deep, hardwired evolutionary imperatives. To understand what a genuinely good life looks like, we have to stop fighting our nature and start decoding it. There is an evolutionary formula for a fulfilling existence, and today we are going to dissect it into actionable principles. The first step isn't about adding new habits to your morning routine. It is about clearing the rubble. Before you can build a sturdy house, you must sweep the foundation clean. For the human mind, this means eradicating mental parasites, toxic idea pathogens that deliberately detach us from objective reality. A mind infected with bad ideas, ideas that deny fundamental truths, evidence, and logic, can never be at peace. The very first pillar of a good life is an absolute, uncompromising commitment to the truth. When you lie, whether to others or to yourself, you create massive cognitive friction. Your body and your brain have to expend an enormous amount of metabolic energy just to maintain that facade. Deceit is quite literally biologically exhausting. Conversely, authenticity is not just a modern buzzword, it is a survival strategy. When your words, your deeply held beliefs, and your actions are in perfect alignment, your physiological stress levels plummet. It requires immense courage to speak your mind in a world that constantly demands conformity, but the profound inner peace it generates is priceless. Standing tall and defending reality sends a powerful evolutionary signal to your own brain. I am strong and I am safe. Once your mind is clear, we move to the second pillar, something that almost all adults have completely forgotten. Play. Observe a puppy, a lion cub, or a human toddler. What do they do for the majority of their waking hours? They play. Play is not a frivolous luxury. It is a fundamental biological need hardwired into the mammalian brain. It is exactly how we learn, how we bond with others, and how we decompress. But somewhere along the journey to adulthood, society convinces us that play is a childish waste of time. We trade joyous, purposeless activity for endless productivity and ruthless optimization. We transform into serious adults, perpetually chained to our desks, wearing our exhaustion and burnout as badges of honor. This is an absolute evolutionary tragedy. Systematically stripping play out of your daily routine slowly starves your very soul. A life entirely devoid of play is biologically unnatural. You desperately need spaces in your life where you do things purely for the intrinsic joy of doing them, not for financial gain, not for social status, and certainly not for social media likes. Whether it is engaging in a goofy hobby, playing a physical sport, creating art, or just laughing uncontrollably with good friends, these moments are absolutely essential. They act as pressure release valves for your nervous system. Play vividly signals to our subconscious that immediate survival threats have passed, telling us that we are safe enough to simply enjoy the present moment. If you want to instantly drastically improve your baseline quality of life, stop taking yourself so seriously all the time. Reclaim your inner mammalian drive to play. But play and truth are only the foundation. As we navigate the adult world, one of the biggest decisions shaping our happiness is far more primal than we realize. We ended the last segment on a crucial precipice. As we navigate the complexities of the adult world, one of the most monumental decisions we make, one that dictates our daily happiness more than almost anything else, is the selection of a long-term romantic partner. From an evolutionary standpoint, mating is the ultimate high-stakes game. In our ancestral environments, choosing the wrong mate didn't just mean a messy breakup. It could literally mean the termination of your genetic lineage. It is the most primal choice we make. Yet, look at how we handle this monumental decision today. We have reduced the most profound biological imperative into a superficial, gamified experience of swiping left or right on a glowing rectangular screen. Modern dating culture encourages us to prioritize fleeting aesthetics and carefully curated online personas over deep, fundamental compatibility. We are making prehistoric, life-altering decisions based on digital mirages, completely ignoring the deeply ingrained biological cues that our bodies and minds actually need to form a lasting, secure bond. When you strip away the modern illusions, what really makes a partnership thrive over decades? It is not the superficial markers of modern success. The traits that historically guaranteed survival and flourishing are kindness, emotional stability, resilience, and intelligence. These are not merely nice-to-have qualities. They are robust evolutionary indicators that someone will be a reliable teammate when the harsh realities of life inevitably strike. You are choosing a co-pilot for survival, not an accessory for your social media feed. This brings us to the danger of toxic relationships. Just as bad ideas act as mental pathogens, a toxic partner acts as a chronic environmental stressor. When you are in a relationship filled with deceit, volatility, or a fundamental clash of core values, your body remains in a perpetual state of fight or flight. This chronic stress literally degrades your physical health and drains your metabolic energy. Choosing a partner who aligns with reality and truth is an act of self-preservation. There is a powerful evolutionary concept often referred to as assortative mating, the idea that like attracts like. While the old cliché says opposites attract, the biological truth is that long-term harmony requires shared core values. When you and your partner share a similar worldview, a similar sense of humor, and mutual respect, you eliminate a massive amount of friction from your daily existence. A well-chosen partner becomes your ultimate safe harbor in a chaotic, unpredictable world. But even if you manage to secure the perfect partner and build a peaceful home, there is another massive piece of the puzzle. You still have to spend roughly 80,000 hours of your waking life doing something else. Working. The second most critical decision you will ever make is choosing your career. And just like dating, the modern workplace is often a bizarre, unnatural environment that completely contradicts our evolutionary programming, leading to widespread burnout. Think about how our ancestors lived and worked. They operated in small, tightly knit tribal bands. When they hunted, gathered, or built shelters, the results of their labor were immediately visible and directly contributed to the survival of the people they loved. Today, millions of us are alienated cogs in massive, faceless corporate machines. We push digital paper, attend endless, meaningless meetings, and feel entirely disconnected from the final product of our labor. It is a recipe for existential dread. To escape this trap, you must approach your career not just as a means to acquire a paycheck, but as a search for your true vocation. A vocation is an alignment between what you do and who you biologically are. It is the sweet spot where your innate genetic predispositions, your natural talents, and your deep intellectual passions intersect. When you find work that resonates with your core being, it ceases to be a burden and becomes a source of profound meaning. Unfortunately, society constantly tricks us into ignoring our true nature in favor of chasing artificial status. We are evolutionarily wired to desire social prestige, so we often pursue high-stress, high-status professions like corporate law or investment banking, even if the actual day-to-day work makes us miserable. We chase fancy titles and corner offices to signal our worth to others, sacrificing our internal joy on the altar of public approval. Empty status is a hollow victory that leads straight to a midlife crisis. The ultimate goal is to craft a life where your work, or at least a significant portion of it, feels deeply engaging. When you operate in your zone of genius, work transforms. It stops feeling like a punishment and starts to feel remarkably similar to the play we discussed earlier. But even with the right partner and the right career, there is one final, looming shadow we must all confront. To truly master the art of living, we have to face the one reality none of us can escape. We ended Part 2 staring into an abyss. The final, looming reality, the shadow that every single human being must face, is the acute awareness of our own mortality. Unlike other animals that live entirely in the present moment, our highly evolved brains curse us with a unique psychological burden. We are acutely aware that our time is finite. This death anxiety can either paralyze us, causing us to hide in frivolous distractions, or it can be harnessed as the single most powerful tool we possess for designing a meaningful life. When you truly internalize the biological fact that you're going to die, everything shifts. Mortality is the ultimate bullshit filter. Suddenly, arguing with a stranger on the internet seems like a pathetic waste of metabolic energy. Time becomes your most scarce and precious evolutionary resource. You stop postponing your happiness for some hypothetical future and start demanding excellence in how you spend your today. Acknowledging your finitude is not morbid. It is a desperate, urgent call to wake up. This brings us to one of the most fascinating evolutionary mechanisms of the human mind: regret. Regret is a psychological alarm system designed to prevent us from repeating costly mistakes. But behavioral science reveals a stunning truth about how we experience regret over a lifespan. In the short term, we regret our actions, the mistakes we made, the foolish things we said, the failures. But in the long term, as we look back on our lives, the most agonizing pain always comes from the regret of inaction. The ghosts that haunt people on their deathbeds are not the times they tried and failed. The ghosts are the chances never taken, the person you never asked out, the business you never started, the truth you never dared to speak because you feared the judgment of the herd. Our ancestral environment punished risk severely. One wrong move could mean literal death. But in the modern world, the cost of avoiding risk is much higher. It is the slow withering of the soul. Take bold, calculated risks in defense of your truth and your passions. So, how do we defeat our own biology? How do we transcend the limits of a brief mortal lifespan? The answer lies in the concept of legacy. Evolutionarily speaking, we leave a legacy through reproduction, passing our genes to the next generation, raising strong, healthy children equipped to face the world. But humans are the only animals capable of leaving a second kind of legacy, a legacy of ideas, art, and impact. We can pass down not just our DNA, but our very essence. To leave a meaningful legacy, you must reject the overwhelming temptation to simply blend into the herd. Our primate brains crave social approval because in the wild, being ostracized by the tribe meant certain death. Therefore, we have a deep biological urge to conform. But greatness, innovation, and a truly fulfilling life require you to short-circuit that urge. You must learn to be incredibly comfortable standing alone. A life well lived is never a copy-pasted version of someone else's. Let's synthesize this evolutionary formula. It is not hidden in esoteric mantras. It is written into our very DNA. Step 1. Commit to objective truth and eradicate the mental pathogens that blind you. Step 2. Reintegrate play into your daily existence to signal safety to your nervous system. Step 3. Choose a mate who shares your core values, creating a fortress of peace rather than a battlefield. Step 4. Pursue a vocation that aligns perfectly with your innate biological talents. And finally, let the awareness of your own mortality drive you to take calculated risks and leave a legacy that outlasts your physical body. This is not a philosophy for isolated monks. This is a highly practical blueprint for being a fully optimized human animal. It requires you to stop fighting millions of years of evolution and start cooperating with it. When you align your modern lifestyle with your ancient design, the friction of existence simply melts away. The power to restructure your life is entirely in your hands right now. Do not wait until tomorrow to start speaking the truth. Do not wait until the weekend to give yourself permission to play. Reevaluate your relationships. Question whether your career is feeding your soul or draining your life force. You're in control of the most complex, beautiful, and advanced piece of machinery in the known universe, your own mind and body. It is time to put it in the right environment to thrive. We may live in a modern world filled with artificial complexities, but the recipe for happiness remains as primal as the dawn of humanity itself. Live truthfully, play fiercely, love wisely, work with profound purpose, and never let the fear of the herd extinguish your individual fire. Thank you for watching. If this video shifted your perspective, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and do not forget to subscribe as we continue to decode the raw truth of human nature. See you next time.